it can learn, it can grow, all of that stuff. We have this fear that is going to overtake us. And I see some people doing some weird things. That's not too far-fetched, but at the end of the day, I want you to know that you are more intelligent. So whatever it gives you, that intelligence came from you. That intelligence came from the people on the internet that it's pulling that data from. That intelligence, if you use Copilot, that intelligence is being pulled from the documents and the content in your organization. And who is creating those documents and content? You. And so I really want us to kind of move away from that mindset of, oh, I'm afraid that it's going to take over, or it's going to be smarter than me. No. You're the intelligent one. It's relying on you. Okay, so now let's go into some practical examples. I have 3. So I wanted to give you something that you can walk away with and something that you can apply right away. So number 1, we talk about recruitment, okay? How do you now use tools, and again, I'm referring to those 2 ideally for right now, in recruitment, onboarding. Recruitment and hiring, that's the name of the word. So, we talked about the traditional way already. Here's how, and this is a prompt, and I want you to take a picture of it. It's not a perfect prompt, y'all. For those of you who know ChatGPT, know that there's prompt engineering, there's prompt design. I didn't want to go into all of that, and I didn't want to teach that into this session. I wanted you to give you something that you can at least now go to ChatGPT or Copilot and drop something in. Okay? You'll have to refine it based on what you need, but this is a prompt. And so I want to explain this prompt. So we talked about manually going through those trillion resumes. Yes. Now, when you go through those trillion resumes, you're looking for some key things, yeah?
Yeah.
What are some things you may be looking for? It may be different from organization to organization. But give me some things.
A degree.
A degree, certification.
Yeah.
What else? Experience.
Skills.
What skills they have. What results they've perhaps provided to their organization. So you kind of already have your own rubric. Is that safe to say?
Yeah.
Whether it's documented or not, or whether it's in your head. You know what you're looking for. And then there's a job description that you are matching or comparing that resume to, yes?
Yeah.
So why not, instead of manually going through those resumes, first of all, tell Chappie, Copilot, the rubric. Say, hey, these are the things that I'm looking for. Then upload, and I say tell. Now, tell could mean a lot of things to these tools. Tell could mean, I talked to Chappie, I didn't really talk to them. I was talking to them on briefcast. You could talk to Chappie and say, or Copilot and say, hey, this is what I'm looking for, I really need this. And so that's telling. Telling could mean copying and pasting information from one document into ChatGPT, or telling could mean uploading these documents. Yeah? Now, so you're saying to Chappie or Copilot, these are the requirements that I'm looking for. This is the job description. This is perhaps the key competencies that I really that would make this role really successful. You give that to Chappie first, right? Or Copilot, and then you say, I'm going to give you X number of resumes. Now the X depends on which tool you use. ChatGPT have a limit. Copilot, I have not seen or tested the limit as yet, and I'll tell you why. But I want you to upload all of the resumes and says, I'll give them to you. Find the name, address, and each resume. The applicant must be found to have, this is the technology certification. So what you insert your blank, what they need to be able to have. Okay? Store that information. When you're finished reading one resume, ask me for the next resume, and that can be when you're finished reading the first group, ask me for the second group. You can tweak it as you wish. And then give me a table of the applicants, their certifications, and you can even say rate them based on the rubric that's in your head, that needs to come out of your head. they'll do it. And how long do you think that would take them?
2 seconds.
Now, that does not take away, remember what I said about it's the sole decision, you're the sole decision maker. So that still doesn't take away from you eyeballing a resume if from that list something jumps up. Right? Say, okay, I didn't realize that person had that on the resume. Let me pull that resume, let me eyeball it. But that's different from looking at 100 versus 1 or 2, maybe 3 or 4. Yeah?
Yeah.
Now, with Copilot, so that's how ChatGPT works. You have to literally download the resumes, put them into Chappy, upload them, and that works from that way. With Copilot, it's even more seamless. Because Copilot is already in Outlook, you all see where I'm going with this?
Yes.
You can literally say, Copilot, give me or review all of the resumes that I got today. You don't even have to open the email, y'all. It's in Outlook. So if the job description says, send your resume to HR and the subject is resume ... which is typically how it is, you can tell Copilot, look for those, evaluate the resumes that you got today or this week or this month, and do the same thing. There's no downloading, there's no uploading. Because the documents are in Outlook, which is connected to Word, and Copilot is in Word. So there's no necessary need. What's that? So you see why they do the same thing. They will give you the same result, but the ease of it, because Copilot is in your systems. Okay, so that's one example. All right, any questions? We're going to come to where it is and all of that, because there's, depending on the organization and your, of course, your Microsoft setup and all of that, but it's there. Sometimes too, and I hope no organization here is doing this, there is a way that you can, the setting is either turned off or on. So if you don't see it all the time, it may be the setting is turned off, and so that's an easy fix, right? But in Outlook, to answer your direct question, on the menu bar, there's a button called Copilot. Now, I've been teaching Microsoft Office for how long? 20 years. So I know that some of y'all will see that button and say, I know what that is. I know what that is. I know what it does. I'm touching it. Yes or yes? And if you're not seeing the button, it could be a setting, so you can talk back to it, right? So it's there. It's in every last one of the Microsoft Office suites now, right? And so, how many of you can see yourself doing this? How much time would you save? Listen, there's no need for us to manually do it. Now, someone call. Because you know Microsoft has been doing some updates. Yeah. So what you log up the latest? Latest? No, it's not the latest. Copilot has been around now. It's 2024. Copilot has been around. It started to show up around 2021. Oh, okay. Yeah, ChatGPT came out and became the most popular. And so that's why everyone gravitated to ChatGPT. Copilot came out shortly after that and has been trying to catch up almost. Because people are using ChatGPT, but now Copilot is really rocking. And what I also love, I'll share it a little later, not now. All right, let's go on. So number 2, assess. So assess is performance appraisals, right? Again, you got all of these performance appraisals to do. The managers ain't doing it right. You know, now I got to go back and review their work and all of this stuff, right? So again, this is another prompt. It's not a perfect prompt, but it gives you at least a context of what you want ChatGPT Copilot to do. Okay? I want you to read the performance appraisal. Now again, just like the resume and hiring rules, you have certain things that you look for. Most organizations have either a performance appraisal guide or a document, and if you don't have none of those, let's leave that. You can ask ChatGPT or Copilot to create one. So that's even, there's no excuse why now where organizations don't have job descriptions, appraisal documents. There's no excuse. Why? You don't even have to be a prompt engineer. Yes, the better prompts give you the better results. But even if you're just starting and you say, look, and I talk to Chappie talk to you, Melissa, I'm like, look, I don't know what the first thing to do to create this job description, but here's kind of what I have in mind. And give it all the stuff, and it'll spit out a job description. It may not be perfect, you'll have to refine it, or it will spit out a performance appraisal guide. So there's no excuse now for any organizations not to have them, because the tools will do it for you. Now, this prompt says, again, you're giving ChatGPT or Copilot the document. With Copilot, again, you don't have to give it a document. You can say, there's no attachment that you have to make. You can literally, it's a slash, and it'll pull up all of your Word documents, and you can just select it because it's pulling from all of your organization's data, so it knows what's there. So you give them that, you give them the job description for each employee. I'll provide them to you in groups, so you can choose to appraise in groups or one by one. For each employee, I want you to extract the following information: strengths, weaknesses, areas for improvement based on the job description. Because how many of us, sometimes we do the performance appraisal when job description ain't nowhere now. I'm talking the truth? Yes. Okay, I just want to KPIs, store this information, and after analyzing this appraisal, ask me for the next one. So again, it depends on how you want to work. Me, I like to say, look at all of these and give me a table, let me look at the table. Some person might say, you know what, I want to really go through these one by one. And so how you choose the instructions is really what matters. Provide me with a summary table that includes each employee saying their strengths and weaknesses, areas of improvement, and performance rating. And then you ask it, and then it gives you the results. Again, you'll have to tweak. You'll have to solidify and finalize. But how long will that take you versus the traditional way? How many of you doing any form of this now? With any type of tool? Okay, you want to share how you're doing it?
It is the exact same thing in that we have our performance appraisal system on an annual basis, and to gather all of the information, we just upload all of the information in the Microsoft platform, and we just identify or just indicate like the columns that we need. And once we would have done that, then it just provides us with the information, and we just disseminate it. Or once we get the list of the report, then we kind of take out what we want, and we just add what we want to add, and we present it for our appraisal system.
I love it. Let's give a round of applause. Anyone else is using some type of tool? It may not be either of these, but we're still doing the manual way. And I want you to, how possible is this for you based on what you're hearing now? It's so possible. And the beautiful thing it doesn't have to be perfect in order to get the results. In order to save you time, in order for you to work smarter, faster, better, it doesn't have to be perfect. Because you can refine as you go. Okay? Last one, growth. So training and development, which is my area. I love this area. And I have a lot of pet peeves when it comes to training and development and the traditional way. And I'm gonna put those pet peeves on y'all. I'm gonna give it to y'all. But when we think of the traditional way, one example is, okay, I need to be able to create these workshops. I need to deliver these workshops. These workshops have to bring some level of result. right? And so this prompt is, I want you to analyze the training needs for each department. Let's even stop right there. Again, as I mentioned, many of us are relying on the managers who are busy. It's their responsibility, but if we're pulling them consistently, then you need to ask yourself, is there a smarter, faster, and better way? And so from here, the mindset is focus the managers on doing the performance appraisals and sending those to you. That's it. With the tool, you can say, from these performance appraisals now, I need you to create a needs analysis based on the job description, based on the company KPIs, based on the company goals, based on the employees' goals. Create a needs analysis for me. So you're taking it out of the hands of them so that it gets done faster. And then you're saying for each appraisal store, again, the employee's name, training needs, recommended courses, and then give me again a summary of what these training courses could be. Give me also a training plan of when these can roll out. If you want to go even further and give that employee a specialized training plan based on their performance for that quarter or that year and their job description and KPIs, you can tell Chappie or Copilot that, and it literally will spit out a plan for you. How long does that take?
Seconds.
2 minutes.
Yeah. It can be done, y'all. So all of the frustrations, all of the time-consuming pieces that you're rolling, these are the only 3 functions that I talked about, and I know you have 10 more. Think about if you were to become smarter, faster, and better in these 3, how much effective you would be, right? Any questions on this one? All right, so let's look at next steps, right? And these are just some quick next steps. Identify key areas for AI integration. I talked about 3. Those are the 3 key ones that I feel like if you can get a handle on those, they could make a big difference in your time and how you work. It could be more. So I like to say to people, do a time study, right? Look at where your time is going in a given day. And of course you can ask Shafi to do that too. Like when my days are full, or when my week is full, or when I have like a long to-do list, I don't try to figure that out in my head no more. I say, Chappie, and sometimes I take a photo. I like to do brain dumps, so I like to write. So I write it all down, take a photo, upload that to Chappie. So I use both, depending on what my needs are. And I say, look, this is what I got to do today. Or this is what I got to do this week. I get no time, Chappie. I'm frustrated, a lot of things got to do. Figure it out for me. Tell me what to do based on all of the variables, and it spits out a plan, and it says, okay, you don't have to stress yourself tonight. I was working one night, and I was like, I got so much things to do, Chappie. Look what he said, you know what? Why don't you go to bed? Why don't you just go to bed, do this one thing. If you really feel you want to get one thing done tonight, do this one thing, and then go to bed, wake up refreshed, and this is the plan for the next day. Oh yeah. I mean, it says it in these nice little words, but yes, that's really what it does. I'm like, you know what?
In a nice way, you say go to bed.
Oh yeah, he's like, no, you should, because I told him too. And this was like maybe 11:30. So I told him the time. When I'm doing something like that, I like to tell him the time, because that gives context. So I was like, man, and I gotta wake up in the morning, and I got all these things, and all these things I want to do. He's like, you know what? Go to bed. Here's the plan for tomorrow, next week. And if you want to do something tonight, just do this one thing, and then leave everything. And it gave me a plan. So I say that to say, look at all of the things that you're doing. Brainstorming. It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be polished. Give it however you want to give it. And then if you want to use ChatGPT, ask it, okay, how can I really incorporate in the key areas of what I do each week or each month, how can I bring these prompts in? okay? The second step is explore both more. Now again, many of you use Copilot, Chappy. Explore Copilot, right? Because what I love, and this is what I was about to say earlier, I would even challenge you to give ChatGPT the prompt and give Copilot the prompt, same prompt. And you'll be amazed at what the differences are. One of the things that I love, and sometimes ChatGPT does it better than Copilot, but vice versa, I think Copilot really gives you a lot more context. One of the things that I loved, and it speaks to what you was talking about with challenges, is when ChatGPT gives us an output, one of the things to keep in mind is it hallucinating? Is that output real? How many of us have thought that? Right, I need to now go back and double check to make sure. Some people make some stuff up, okay? It just got, listen, I was wrong with it this week. Like, this is not what I asked for. Where did you get this from? Okay, I'm nice. But I knew that the things that he was giving me was not what I was needing. So, what I love about Copilot is, coming to you now, what Copilot does when it gives an output, it gives you the source. It gives you the link to say, this is the output, and this is where I got it from online. That alone is a big difference. So you don't have to be guessing, oh, I bet I can get this thing right? So, and that's just one, right? So explore them both more, compare the two outputs, and again, when you go into Word today or any of the Office products, look for it, right? If you don't see it, ask your IT, it may be a setting, or it may be that, like I was in Teams meeting yesterday, and they move stuff. Microsoft does that. They move stuff. So it may be in one of the menus, and if you don't find it right away, there's a search bar right on every last one of the Microsoft Office programs, Outlook, Word, Excel. Just type in Copilot, and it'll tell you where to find it. If it's turned on. If it's not turned on, then it's a setting. And then develop a pilot plan. Meaning, okay, I may not be able to do all that I want to do right away, but again, how can you say, what are my first 3 roles or tasks that I want to really just transform with AI? And then how do I roll out the rest? And then most importantly, how do I get my colleagues to roll out ChatGPT in the organizations? I'll talk more about that too. Question?
Well, just more of a comment. One of the challenges I noticed with ChatGPT, like you mentioned, is you have to always monitor the output because it basically will produce what you give it.
Yes.
So I think one of the challenges a lot of companies initially will have with AI is ensuring that they have clean data and accurate data before they make the transition.
Yeah.
Which I think can be difficult. You can't just give them whatever you have today and expect magic to happen tomorrow.
Yeah.
So you have to make sure what you have is up to date. So I think about how I use it in HR for, if I'm revisiting job descriptions. And if I'm looking at a job description from 2002, and I know in my mind, this is not what this person does anymore, but I'll just copy and paste and put it in ChatGPT.
Yes.
It produces what I gave it. So it looks good, but I'm like, wait a second, this don't seem right. But I gave it that information.
Yeah.
So you have to make sure that you pay attention to what you're giving it.
Yes, and I love that, and I will add to that, because the mindset that we have is, the tools. Let's not just say ChatGPT, but the tools are going to take my job. It still needs a human
To put it in.
to
Input.
interact with. Now, what's going to potentially take your job is if you refuse to interact with the tool. The human that does will take your job. You get that? And so it's being able to lead the change, embrace it, lead the change, bringing people to train, bringing people to train, bringing people to train, okay, bringing people to train and get people on board. One of the other things, and that's in the pilot plan as well, is making sure that there are also an HR policy that aligns with this new ChatGPT usage. That's an important piece as well. Because, now people are putting information into these tools. You still want to protect that information. You still want to make sure that the employees know, all right, if you give me something, you can't come back and blame Chappie or Copilot. So making sure the policy is in place as well. Yeah. I had a question in the back, and then one question.
I think you said that that AI can source information as well, like from other places. So it'll tell you where it sourced the information from.
Yeah, Copilot does that. Yeah.
Okay.
Copilot does it automatically. ChatGPT can do it, but you may have to request it. You may have to ask it for the source.
Okay, so if you have maybe a job description that may be outdated, and you say, okay, Chappie, this is the information I have, but can you give me something more updated, more it will be able to do that?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now again, you can give context. You can even explain what updated or modern is. Also, what the role is. You may say what are the trends relating to this as well. And so you can give it more context. Yes, you can do that for sure.
Okay, and then just on a personal tip, right? What about like with homework and study? You could use it for that too.
You can use, let me make it fair.
Yeah. If you could use it for homework.
Anything. Now, it's some guidelines that you need to follow when it comes to homework. My husband is a university professor. We talk about it all the time. Yes, in fact, I can't tell you the last time I went to Google. Like, who goes to Google? That's what we're talking about. And if you go to Google, if you notice Google is barred. Google has its own AI bar. So even if you go to Google, if you notice, before it gives you the results now, it gives you an answer. That's ChatGPT, that's AI. So many times, if I go to Google, because I want to double check and see what Chappie would have said, I still don't click. I still just read what it's there, and I'm like, okay, good, I got it.
Other than these two software, what would you recommend for HR to utilize?
Yeah, so in terms of other tools, so there's lots, right? And what I can do, I have this document at the sheet that I mentioned. 800 is not relating to the HR, but there's a snippet, I think it was maybe 30 or 40. I can actually send it to, if you want, I'll give you my contact, I can send it to you. But there's lots. There's one that I was looking at, it's called Hey, I have the notes in my computer. But the one that really stood out to me, I'll get the name for you. We talk about hiring and reviewing resumes. The next step is, okay, you find these shortlists. I need to now do the series of hiring with them, right? So this tool is called Hey Something. But it sends an email to say, hey, you've been shortlisted for the interview. Click right here to answer a couple of questions. So it's a digital interview. And then, just how that person would have gone through interview 1, interview 2, interview 3, it's a digital interview, just how they record a video. How many of us have recorded a video on our phone and sent it somewhere? It's the same thing. The computer asks a question, the person answers the question, live, and then based on the guidelines that you give it for the interview, because you're the human who's saying, this is what I'm looking for, it gives you a short list and say, out of these 20, these 3, we can move on to the real interview, the final interview.
So you can put
your own questions.
Absolutely, yeah, you put the structure in. I'll get the name, it's in my notes, but, I mean, that's a tool, I don't know if we ready for that, though, Kelly? Who knows, like me, I'll jump on that tool, I'm a techie, so I'll, but, it's a screening, that's it, it's a screening interview. Yes, exactly. They send you the videos, they give you an evaluation. So you still, remember the human, the tool is not the sole decision maker. So you still can go back and say, okay, let me double check. Yes, but it takes you out of doing all of those preliminary screening interviews. The tool does it, it's a you tell them what you're looking for. And then it gives you your top 3. Question.
Just a comment. For persons who may have been oblivious to AI, simple as Alexa and Siri, they're examples of voice recognition. You just tell it what you want and it gives it back to you. It mimics human behavior and also talk about natural language processing. So if you're oblivious to that, as simple as Siri and Alexa, so imagine how much more there is. So you've been using it and probably didn't even know it.
We've all been using
Yeah.
it. Netflix is a artificial intelligence. When you watch an African movie and then you see all kind of
Your kids already
that's how interesting. What made it so popular and why it became this boom in the last 3 years, 4 years was the ChatGPT OpenAI. Because before, the tool was already there for decades. What made it different was the tool was really just, I guess, accessible to people who understood the code. You know, the programming languages. So the coders coded with AI for years, decades. But there was never a tool that allowed me and you to talk to the AI and have that human connection to the AI. That's what ChatGPT did. And so that's why it blew up, because now we don't have to call a coder or call a technician to be able to create this tool to talk to us. ChatGPT kind of blew it out of the water. That's why it created that buzz. But we have been using AI for a very long time. Question?
So, you know, AI is a common form to everybody. So how do you sell AI to your company or to others? So not traditionally.
Yeah. I love this question, and it really
That question in ChatGPT.
listen, that's definitely one. What is in ChatGPT? So I'll answer it, but I love that answer because here's the thing, right? I can give you an answer and I can say, okay, show that person the results, one. And then also, because I teach technology, I know this. There is this natural resistance, and people say they don't like a software, and it's because they don't know it. Once you begin to get them to know it, then they're gonna love it. So it's also presenting them in little doses. Okay, this is what this can do, this is what that can do. What I love what the answer was, because I give you that generic answer, right? You can go to ChatGPT and ask that same question, but you can also tell ChatGPT who the person is. This is the person, this is the industry, this is why, or this is what they say, and now give me a plan of action. And there is, I have not seen, and I work with, obviously here, but I remember I worked with a company in the US. I did a presentation on ChatGPT there. The president of the company, and I did that same assessment. How many of you use it? How many of you are oblivious, uninterested? The president of the company was not using it. She said, I don't even use Siri and that. So she was not, and I wouldn't say she was against it. She just was not interested in it. It was not something that she focused on. I did the training. Now I still work with that company. Since that training, they created an entire policy for the company. Everybody now, they didn't use Microsoft, they used Google, so the company now uses ChatGPT. Everybody has a ChatGPT account. And now, from the president down, you will hear in their meetings, go to AI and do that. Go to, and we call it, I call it choppy, they call it scrappy, I don't know why. But they would say in meetings, the president down, you know what, go to AI, get that done, and then let's talk about it. And what they did, they literally put everything, all of their documents into the tool, and they said, here, team, all of our documents, all of our philosophies, our vision, mission, our frameworks, everything is in there. We've trained it, right? And that's a big part of it as well. Now, you all go use it. And that was in a matter of probably 45 to 50 days. From her not saying, to, okay, everybody use it. And it's not a secret now. Because some companies, you still gotta hide and say you're using AI. You can't tell the boss you're using AI. Because whatever. No, if the boss tell you no, go put it in AI, bring it back, and let's work with it.
Let me just add here, from my experience, share who are the big companies who are using it.
Yes.
And what the results are.
Yeah.
Once you can do that, you should be good to go.
Yeah.
They want to be a part of it.
They want to see it.
The big five.
And I heard someone said this, I was listening to an AI presentation a couple of days ago, and I heard someone said this and it stuck with me. I'm an early adopter, so you give me a technology and I'm gonna like, okay, I want that, let me check that out, I'm okay with that, I'm good. There's some people, like my husband, you know, he can take a little while, he can come around. And the person said, when they learn it, they learn it. And I like that. Because for me, my message would be like, why y'all keep teaching it? But I mean, y'all be behind. But I've been teaching Excel for 20 years, and guess what people still call me to teach? Excel. When they learn it, they learn it. And it's the same thing with these tools, right? Some people are going to jump on it very quickly. And if you have those people in your organizations, use them, run with them, and help them to be the champions in the organizations. Some others are going to resist it. They will need the training, they will need the hand-holding, they will need the coaching, but they will, like any tool, they will come around. And if they don't, then that's where performance appraisals come up, because are they not working smarter, faster, and better anymore? And how can you work with that? Yeah. Any other questions or comments?
I wish you would have given us a demonstration though.
I wanted to give you a demonstration, but I was not sure how the setup would have been. And so I could definitely do that. I can throw that prompt in. I don't know how much time we have. How much time do we have?
We're right on the wire.
We right on time. Yeah, so we have time. But a question that I get is, what are some non-traditional ways to use AI or ChatGPT? And so these go, and why I say two, Copilot is what you use for the organization's work. Because again, you have the benefit of pulling all of the organization's data. ChatGPT is really, as an HR professional, that could be a sounding board. Right? How many of you have wanted a therapist, a coach, someone to vent to? And yeah, exactly. So after long days, when you want, when you got that frustration built up into you, what do? Do you just take it through the next day? No, I go to Chappie. I have a whole thread. I say, Chappie, I want you to act as my Christian coach and therapist. This is what's going on today. This is what frustrated me. Help me work this out. And I literally have conversations, and I'm like, listen, this is not working for me. I don't like this. I want to have something to say. Give me some ways to say it. This is how I want to say it. But tell me how. Or I would say to it, All right, I hear someone give a perspective. I really don't agree. Help me see it from another person's perspective. I love that question, right? I have a thread, my husband and I. When my husband make me mad, I go to ChatGPT, I'm like, this is what Glenn tell me. Please give me another way to look at this. Or I tell him something else. Please, Charlie, how do I look at this? How do I, and it really calms me down because I'm like, okay, yeah, that's true. A Christian counselor. I have asked ChatGPT for dress. I'm like, okay, I have these shoes, I have this outfit. What earrings should I go with this? I upload the picture of the earring, I upload the picture of the shoes. And I say, what colors I can go with this? So help me choose which earring to go with.
I think.
My outfit. I was painting my office. I couldn't figure out the paint. I said, copy these two of my options. Help me choose. So when we think of that tool that can give you the ability to we have millions of questions going on in our heads every day. Some things we don't get the answers to why. We don't know what to talk to, we don't know how to find the answer, all of the things. Imagine just pulling up your phone and say, look, this is what I'm thinking about. And your rest is right here, I coming back. But it's done. So I trust that. My last slide, of course, if you wanna connect with me, you can do that. My contact information is there. You can also scan the QR code. The first link is AI and HR. You can put your information in or your questions, and I'll get back to you there. But I want to thank you for the time. I hope that something that you heard today you can run with, and at least one of those prompts. My challenge to you is within the next 24 hours, at least by Monday, try at least one of those prompts. And you have my email. I'd love for you to tell me how that prompt went. That y'all do that? Yes. All right, thank you very much. Give yourselves a round of applause.